Hi, I'm Mickey Barr, and in this video we'll be exploring some yoga warm-ups for giving Thai massage. First position we'll start with is the seated position that I'm in. Sometimes this is called archer or diamond, and so I'm sitting on my heels with my toes tucked under. And some people say that this is too much of a stretch in the arch of the foot, or it can be intense in the knee. And so work slowly with this one, but I would say that this is the most important position for Thai massage. It gives you a great foundation to move forward and back, as I'll show later in the video. It also makes you taller, that if I was just sitting on the floor here, I've lost a few inches, and that means if what I'm massaging is in front of and below me, I have a lot less of my body weight, and my spine has to round more to get there. Whereas if my toes are tucked under like this, and my knees are apart, then I have a lot more of my body weight coming forward. Second position we'll do is that if I lift my butt off my heels and bring my hands to the floor, we're going to find a type of tabletop. And I'm going to try to start in a flat spine, just so that I can show the contrast. And so here I feel like my spine is mostly flat, and I'm going to start to round the spine. Sometimes this is called a cat pose, like a scared cat. And I'm going to begin that by dropping my pelvis, specifically my buttock bones, towards my knees. And that starts to round my lower back. Now I'm going to spread my shoulder blades and lift my chest away from the floor, lift my upper back towards the ceiling, and that rounds my upper back. And I'm exaggerating this shape, but you can see how it creates a rounded shape in the spine. If I return to a flat spine, or if I even do the opposite, if I lift my buttock bones and drop my chest, they'd sometimes call this the cow pose. It's more of a back bend. It's more of a spinal extension. I'm going to drop my buttock bones towards my heels. I'm going to lift my chest away from the floor, and I'm going to spread my upper back. And this is important because it makes a straight line from my shoulder to my arm. And if I was, say, massaging here, it allows the weight, my body weight, to move straight downwards instead of having the shoulders or the elbows move. So if I come back to the sitting position, I mentioned that this will allow for more length. So if someone's head was here and their back was here, their shoulders, I could be massaging around their shoulder blades. Right? If I wanted to move down their back, I could lift my buttocks off my heels and I could continue massaging forward, and if I wanted to even touch their glutes, I could step a foot forward into a lunge and still be massaging. So in this lunging position, we want to do the same mechanics that we did in the rounded spine shape in that cat pose. And then I'm thinking about my buttock bone pushing downwards towards my knee, and then the front of the hip lifting. And that allows for a deeper stretch in the front of the hip, and not a stretch in the lower back. But sometimes people in lunges, they can stick their butt out and they say it compresses their lower back. But by dropping the sitting bone, it takes that extra bend out of the lower back and lengthens the front more. Then I'd have the option to bend deeper into the knee, and I could be touching the floor here. It's even possible, if you want a deeper stretch, you can bring your elbows to the floor. It doesn't have many massage applications, but it's a nice stretch. Finally, I could straighten the back knee, and this is a nice deep lunge, sometimes called a lizard lunge. I could bring the knee to the floor, walk myself back, and then sit down. And we'll do the other side. The buttock can lift off of the heels, the right foot can step forward, or your other leg. And then again, I want to exaggerate and emphasize dropping the buttock bone towards the floor and lifting the front of the pelvis up. Now I feel the sensation in the front of my hip. Then I could bend deeper into the front knee and possibly bring the hands to the floor. Shows how much reach I have. Elbows could possibly come to the floor if you want to work deeper. And the back knee could lift, and this just becomes a nice lunge. Knee can touch down, hands can walk back, leg can step back, and you can sit down. Finally, if I bring my hands to the floor again, and I round the spine, dropping the buttock bones, and spreading the shoulder blades, Then I can sit my hips back towards my heels. That becomes a type of child's pose. It's an active child's pose, but still a child's pose. And then if I wanted to, I could straighten the knees. And this takes me into a type of downward facing dog. And this is a downward facing dog that's emphasizing what we found in the cat spine, of pushing the buttock bones towards the heels and spreading the shoulder blades apart. So this isn't a down dog for stretching the back of your legs or stretching your armpits. It's a down dog more for building strength. And that if I wanted to stretch the back of my legs, I would have to lift the buttock bones, and then I could drop my chest towards the floor, and that becomes more of a stretch on the legs and armpits. But instead, I'm emphasizing the rounding. And if I drop my knees to the floor, still rounded, and if you want to really build strength in this rounded position, you could bend your elbows without losing your shoulder blades. And just these little kneeling push-ups with the shoulder blades spread apart build a lot of strength. So give some of those a try, and thank you.